welcome to another episode of the Sawdust Nation podcast with your host, Josh from North Country Woodworking, Nap from Nap's Naughty Works LLC, and Nick from NPG Creations. Today on the show, we have a special guest, Paul Souter, from the owner and operator of Woodcraft Texas, is with us. Hey, Paul, how you doing?
I'm very well. Thank y'all for having me.
Outstanding. Hey, it's great to have you on. I know we talked about it a long time ago, but great to finally get you here. But before we go into the What's in Your Shop segment, we're going to go ahead and hit on our sponsors. So further ado, I'm going to kick it on over to Nick. Nick, give us a sponsor list. Hey, glad you asked. So check it out. Our sponsors are as follows. We want to thank PWN CNC for their continued support and for making this episode possible. So thanks a lot, Pwn CNC. Daniel over there's got some great gear. He sells on his website, pwncnc.com, and it is great for your CNC and all the upgrades. Promo code Sawdust Nation for 10% off all your orders at PWN CNC. And next up, Totalboat. Thank you for your continued support. Totalboat makes some great epoxy. Check them out, totalboat.com, or hit them up at Totalboat on the big Instagram. And if you need a promo code for them, we got, we'll be your Huckleberry. Just slide into our DMs on the Instagram, and we'll send you that promo code. And last but not least, Jtechphotonics. Thanks for your continued support as well. If you're in the mood for that diode experience, check them out at jtechphotonics.com. And now, with the moment we've all been waiting for, the Woodcraft mogul of tools, Paul Souter. How you doing, sir? And what's going on in your shop?
Thank you for that title. That's quite the title. I don't know if I live up to it, but I appreciate it. What's going on in my shop? So I got a couple things going. This year for me has been kind of a year of getting into a segment of woodworking called Kumiko. And for those that aren't familiar, it's kind of it's a Japanese lattice work. It's an old Japanese tradition that dates back hundreds of years. And most people are probably most familiar seeing it in the soji screens, the Japanese soji screens that they do so beautifully. And I took a class a couple years ago, and in the piece that we built, we made one of those, and I just hadn't gotten back to it much. And this year I decided to really dial in that segment of my woodworking abilities and basically just jumped into that a whole bunch and have been making a bunch of panels. They're basically picture frames, but you do all the different angles on these little small pieces of wood and assemble kind of a geometric pattern. And there's lots of patterns out there. There's lots of different angles and lots of ways you can go about it. I've just been kind of doing the more basic. It's called Asanoha pattern, and it's kind of resembles a hemp leaf, and just real beautiful. It's actually, it looks pretty complicated, but once you learn the process and you know where you're going, it's pretty manageable and ends up being a lot of fun. So
do you use traditional Japanese hand tools, or are you using just power tools, or what for that?
I'm using a Japanese pole saw. You could use whatever you want. The saw cuts it to rough length, and then you've got a little jig that you use it's got an angle cut on it that is your registration surface for a chisel. And I'm using just a basic bench chisel to cut the angle, but there's plenty of people that do go down that road and use the Japanese style chisels, and I don't have any. I haven't really gotten those. I got a set of Stanley Sweethearts back years ago and love those, and that works for me. So yeah, it's a really nice way of woodworking because you can basically get all your strips cut and you get the frame assembled, and then you just sit with your ham tool. Yeah, let me grab one. I've got one right on the wall. Pull one off the wall. So if you're watching,
that maple is pretty nice there.
Is that curly maple?
Yeah, it's got a little curl in there. I tried
just a little.
Yeah. So
That's nice.
But
so you get first dibs on all the wood, right? So you get the best stuff, right?
Technically, yes, but I don't like to do that. We try and instill that in the employees as well, as we need to get the good stuff out on the floor. I like to play the game of it's going to go out on the floor and people will have a good 2 weeks to get after it, and then I'm going to go sift through it, and whatever's there after that point in time, it's fair game.
So what you're saying is you hide the good stuff behind all the bad stuff, and that way in 2 weeks when it comes up.
No, but I know employees that do that, so I would definitely spend the time and go through the wood. We encourage it.
I never thought of that. I never thought of like when I'm buying a piece of lumber that the individual who's checking out like at the counter is like silently cursing me. So.
And for the employees, we like to encourage them to tell us what they're interested in. We try and get it added onto an order so that they can get that in and of themselves. They don't have to worry about the retail side of that. I mean, they place their order, we'll get it ordered for them. That's theirs. And then, but like I say, the rest of the stuff, we need to give everybody a fair chance to get after it. So,
what else you got going? Are you making some other stuff for the holidays coming up? Anything for Halloween?
No, I need to. I leave that. We have our Austin manager. He's got a CNC up in that store, and he's been really diving into the CNC, and he does all sorts of intricate carvings and whatnot. So I placed my order with him and let him cut them out for me.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
The only other thing I really got going is I've been trying to work on the shop. I try and do a project for myself and then something for the shop. And the something for the shop this time around is I want to get a tool wall going. So basically hung up a piece of plywood and going to just get all my tools mounted to that so they're out in the open. No tool cabinet or anything, just all out in the open, turn around, grab it, turn around, get back to work. So
are you going to do like a French cleat system or?
Yeah, it's on a French cleat. And then because now it's proud of the wall, 3/4 of an inch plus the 3/4 inch plywood, I'm now going to edge it with some maple and hide all the edges and just kind of trim it out. And then holders for all the tools and stuff. So that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Josh likes doing that stuff. Your shop over there, Josh, still has all the tools on display, right?
Yeah, for the most part. It's an easy way. I don't know how big your shop is, Paul, but for a smaller shop, it's an easy way to, put things on the wall. I can see where they are, grab them, put them back. Keeps that work surface clean.
That's exactly what I'm going for, is just be able to turn around, grab the tool, use it, put it back up. I'm a very firm believer of a place for everything and everything in its place.
Absolutely.
I'm a firm believer of using the tool and just leaving it laying around till I need it again, and then I can't find it and look for it for 45 minutes. And then just go to Woodcraft and buy another one. I'm just saying, I can't find it.
I like your style.
Call that a tape measure. I can never find one.
Well, then as soon as you get home with it, you're going to find it. So
I figured out there is a tape measure to shop ratio. When it comes down to it, I need 5 tape measures. Out of 5, I will always have 1 in sight. So you're gonna have to.
No way, man.
That's funny.
There's I have a collection point of pencils that they always seem to end up by the miter saw. Like every last one of them. And I'm looking around yeah, but it's not an official spot. I start out with them spread out, and then by the end of the week, they're all by the miter station. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So
it's the woodworking elves coming into your shop.
I know, right?
You're into the game. You're doing what you're doing. Where you're busy. You start moving things. You're putting it. That's where that French cleat comes along. It's a great idea for any shop because you can literally use it, put it back, and you start getting in the habit of doing that. I still got to work on my habit because I'm kind of, be using it and forget to put it back. But in theory, it's supposed to work really well.
That's a no for me.
Speaking of habits, I just recently realized I have a problem. My habit is buying large item tools and not having a place for them.
Is that the CNC you're referring to, or did you buy?
No. Okay, I will go into it when I get into my shop. But
tease me here.
Paul, you got anything else going on in that shop over there, sir?
That's about it. Go for it.
All right. Hey, Nap, what's going on in your shop? I know you've been a busy bee all day. You look tired.
Yeah. So let's just say first and foremost, pricing is key when it comes to any project. We'll just chalk this up to a proven concept to possibly making more money later, which is totally fine with me, considering it's that dual cheap promotion chest that I've been working on very diligently. It's due out Thursday afternoon. Oh, hey there, phone. They wanted it for the 1st of October, which is promotion day for a bunch of Chiefs, and so I was like, cool, I'll get that done. And the phone's talking again. Hey there.
Sorry.
And
Son.
I found out that I had enough wood, but I didn't charge enough. I was probably about $200-300 shy of what I probably should have charged, but it is what it is. It's almost done. Right now it's sitting on its back. I put two,
That's how
when I made the divider. What's that?
What?
Oh, whatever, Nick.
Oh.
When I put the divider in, I did a dado. And when you do, anytime you run anything through a table saw, it's got that little spot on there you see where the saw blade nicked it. But what I ended up doing was I actually purposely did that. So I ended up taking a piece of walnut and putting it in place to hide it. And it also acts as a support. So that's what it's sitting on. That's why the chest is on its back. That's why, Nick made the awesome comment earlier.
So I'm curious, what are the overall dimensions on that chest?
It is 30 inches wide by 19 and a quarter deep and by 20 tall-ish. 20 tall.
30-inch chest, huh?
Yeah.
I like big chests. I'm just saying.
Yes, you do.
So.
I'm more of a trunk guy myself, but anyways, that thing's heavy. I knew it was going to be heavy. The customer knew it was going to be heavy. I told him, hey, we're going to need 2 people to pick this thing up because it's made out of solid maple and walnut. I did take some weight precautions. I ended up making the trays out of walnut, but I used, instead of using full walnut, I ended up using a piece of plywood as my bottom part of the tray to cut down on some weight, because it still looks just as nice. Baltic birch, if you've ever used it, which everyone here has used it, I'm sure it looks pretty nice even when you add that new Odies dark to it. So yeah, I have got the Odies dark, and let me tell you, it's some good stuff. I'm using Odies dark on the entire chest, and it's coming out really nice so far. I've literally got maybe 2 hours left of work on this thing, and that's 2 coin racks, a laser job on a piece of maple, and then gluing some stuff and all row finish. But that's the big project that's in the shop right now.
I got to second you on that Odies dark stuff. Is amazing.
And it ages, and the thing on that stuff is it says it ages. As it ages, it gets darker. So I'm very curious to see the aging factor of this Odies dark. I'm probably going to put it on a piece of my own and just leave it and just see what the aging factors are, because I won't see this chest probably ever again, honestly, other than the Facebook post that'll be of hey, look at this awesome chest that we received from your business. And then I got this guy. So some guy asked me to make a keyboard type coin rack looking thing. So I did a 3D keyboard. Try not to tip and lose all my coins right now, but it's out of cherry. I got to finish that sometime this week. The guy said there's really no rush, so it's one of those I was able to run it on the CNC while doing some build work on the table. Let's see what else I got in here. Just looking around because normally I have a bunch of stuff. I've got 2 panels of wood being ready to cut or waiting to be cut for 2 other jobs that are hey, when you get time to do it type jobs. One's a shield or remake of something to hang a sword on with some stats for a military training instructor. I'm waiting for an approval on 15 quarterly awards from the wing. It's really quick and easy, cut out some shapes, and Jarvis did their laser some image on it and put some hangers on it. That's literally all it is. I was like, okay, just know that it's going to be X amount of dollars just to turn my machine on. So, it's just one of those things. Just trying to think if there's anything else crazy. A couple hat presses. That's really nothing new. Tools. So, Nick talks about getting tools and can't fit them. Well, I may or may not have pulled the trigger on a 1938 Supermax drum sander. I almost got the 25.
He pulled the trigger. I was the one who pushed him into doing it.
Yeah. Okay. So I was going to get it regardless, but he ever so slightly nudged me. He goes, Nap, how much do you want for your drum sander now? And if I buy it, will you get your upgrade? I was like,
well, I said, when do you plan on buying it? So it was very self-serving of me. So yeah, when do you plan on buying it? Because I'm buying yours. And if I pay you now, will you buy it now? Basically. So
Nick wanted a new drum sander.
Yeah.
So then Nap's like, you can have it for like $500, and I'm like 400, and he's like 450 sold. Good. So
Hey,
yeah, man.
And honestly, and that was a good deal, I think, on both parties, because not only did that pay a third of the Supermax off, I already had a chunk of change set aside for the Supermax. It was just a matter of when I was going to actually buy it, because I needed a buyer for my 1632 jet drum sander. So that shows up hopefully by Friday, if not next week, Monday. I'm pretty excited about it. Almost got to 2550. The pushing factor was they didn't have outfeed tables over there at Acme. Because no place in San Antonio has any kind of Supermaxes available, or really it's just hard to find them. I guess all there is floor models out there. So not all places sell their floor models. So I mean, it is what it is. So I bought it offline. But that 2550, I was so upset that it didn't have the outfeed tables, because I totally would have bought it.
Yeah, that 2550 is a beast, but the 1938 is a good size. You can get a lot of work done with that. Not sure how big of things you're doing, but
it will help him regardless. My biggest question, man, is like, where are you going to put that?
It's literally going to change. It's going to take the position where the jet was. It's not much bigger than the one I have now.
Really?
Like, because I have a 1632, so now imagine, 1938, it's 3 inches of sanding space, add a couple more inches maybe of overall footprint. But the way I have my shop set up is the planer goes against the wall, because I don't use my planer all the time. My drum sander sits in front of my planer. My miter box is between the laser and the drum sander. My saw stop sits in the middle. So everything, there's a flow to my shop, and it'll fit just fine, especially because it'll have wheels. So
got that feng shui going on.
The feng shui.
What drum sander you got, Paul?
I have the Supermax 1632, so the little guy. But the nice thing is that I have access to a 2550 in our San Antonio classroom. So if I ever do need the larger sander, I've got access to it. So, but I love Supermax stuff. I love their sanders are great. So absolutely,
how is the tool, like, how is replacing stuff on those pieces of equipment? Because I know Jet, like, you got to find like someone that makes them like offhand just to get a new belt or conveyor or anything sometimes.
It's Jet is kind of I don't want to say difficult, but they have technicians throughout the nation that will come and work on machines, or I guess more specifically, you've got to get the machine to them, and they're a verified repair technician, so they can fix it. But that's a hassle, trying to get a whatever it is tool hauled over, a stationary tool hauled over to that. It's difficult, but that's the name of the game for all the big power tool vendors. So they kind of expect you to be a bit of a machine head and be able to take care of most things, unless it's something really out of the ballpark, and then you just have to see what the vendor's going to do.
Yeah, my main concern was just really the conveyor belt, because getting a hold of an actual conveyor belt for a drum sander seems to be next to impossible, depending on what model you have.
Come to Woodcraft. We should have them. We keep most of those belts in stock, because
good to know.
Yeah,
good to know. I got a Jet coming the end of the week.
It's easy. Well, in setting these sanders, it's real easy for that conveyor belt to start tracking to one side. Yep. And before you know it, it's been rubbing for the last 30 minutes, and it's tearing itself apart, fraying on one end. So yeah, no, we definitely have them in stock and can get them.
Well, there you go, Nick. So now you know where to get one.
Oh yeah.
But all right.
Yeah.
So moving on real quick, just so I can keep pushing us, so you all can talk about what's going on in your shop. There is another tool on the horizon, probably in the next 2 months. I am looking at the 8-inch Laguna helical head joiner. Right now, the reason why I'm buying so many large tools is because I'm very 95% chance going to Abilene, Texas for my next station. So I will be buying a home out there that has a 30 by 30 shop already there. The wife and I have already started talking about where we're going to get a house. So I'm getting all the big ticket items now, so that way when I move in, it's just ready to rock and roll. Like, I'll have the stuff that I want. The only thing I won't have is a Stepcraft CNC. That's a couple years down the road. But other than that, that's what I got going on in my shop. I have finally become official, though. I have my own stickers from Sticker Mule, and
Nice.
I finally can do sticker swaps. Nick came up to me the first time I met him and goes, "Hey man, if you need a plaque, call me." Slides me his card. He had a really nice card, and then later on he gave me one of his stickers. Like, man, I'm really behind the game here. I don't have stickers. I don't have cards. God.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, just hit Nap up at Nap's Naughty Works LLC if you want a sticker. He'll send one right out to you immediately.
These are facts. My sticker
now
was
they're all
looking
gone.
pretty small.
Now they're all gone.
Where's mine?
Yeah.
So
Where's Paul's?
Yeah, I'll get you a Woodcraft sticker. We can swap.
I'll be at Woodcraft probably tomorrow.
Okay,
So
come in. Awesome.
Hey, we should go right after Topgolf.
That's where we're going.
We're supposed to go to Topgolf tomorrow, so
For work.
we'll see you tomorrow there,
For
Paul.
work. Wow.
Yeah.
I'll get a plane ticket.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so we were going to go there right after Topgolf anyways there, Nick, because I got to pick up some stuff.
Good.
Well, we
Definitely
got
stop
really
in.
good,
A very hard life up there, I say.
But all right, so
man.
Josh, what's going on in your shop, man? We're going to skip Nick for now because Nick has a lot going on and grab finale from him later.
Interesting what he has going on. Not too much. This last weekend, me and my son went camping. It was his first time overnight camping in a tent. So that was fun. 5-year-old in the woods. It gets interesting fast. He had a great time. We both had a great time. We got bit up a little bit, but kind of our own fault there. Big breakfast next morning, cooked out, and then we packed up shop and went home. But as far as in the shop goes, I'm going to have about 3 mallet builds coming up. I have a mallet IO Instagram buddy of
You owe
mine.
me one.
Oh, yep. There's one right there.
There's 4.
And then, no, there's 3. You're counted in there. Actually, Crafted NJ is doing a 3K giveaway, so I donated a mallet to his giveaway as well. So I'll be making those 3 mallets, I'm thinking this weekend. Haven't got to your 2-foot mallet yet, but I'll get there someday. I will be making a box for a hatchet. I don't know the story behind the hatchet. I just know that it was a gift. They want a nice decorative box to house it. So that's going to be a fun build, something I have not done. My own squadron has approached me about Christmas decorations, tying them with, this year's. So we're going over some designs and, what's going to cost and how that's going to flow. When you start dealing with the people you work with, it gets kind of weird, especially when it comes to money. I'm trying to keep it, one hat, I work under you. The other hat is this has nothing to do with me working under you. And that's how I play it. It seems to work out well. So we'll see how that goes. I have a cornhole board. I'll be doing this weekend as well. Got out of the wood forum. I just have to get in there and knock that out. And then I've been approached about a couple of challenge coin holders as well. And I have to design those, get those approved, and go through the approval process with the client. What else? I actually have some shadow boxes. 2 people approached me about shadow boxes, and they want me to make them, but they don't want, this is the kicker. They don't want something that someone else has necessarily done. It can look similar, but it needs to be different. So
unique.
Yeah. So I'm trying to go
I
through
mean,
and
you should make a kegerator one. Like, check it out, where the door is the actual shadow box, and it opens up and there's beer in it.
no, I don't want to
Or
do
there's
that.
a keg in it.
It would be awesome, but I don't want to dip into that one. But so I'm trying to work on different designs and seeing what they like, they don't like, what's going to fit everything they want to go in there. So those aren't due until next year. So I mean, we're in the design process. We're going to take it slow, and we're going to get it right. But I didn't think I would ever do those. But being approached by 2 people, they really want me to do them. So that's about it. I have a lot of designing going on, a lot of trying to reformat my Etsy page and throw some stuff up there. But other than that, it's been pretty busy, not just in the shop here. So, but that wraps me up. Let's go throw it at Nick and see what's going on in his shop.
Hey, it's been one heck of a week, man. Absolutely one heck of a week. It's the end of the fiscal year coming up, which means people are placing orders for things that they need to expend the budget, I guess you could say. So people are placing lots of orders. I got a large order, like a super large order, the largest order I ever had before in my life. It's massive comparatively to what I usually do. Me and Nap are going to tag team that. We already have a game plan. We just have to work out some deets. That's right. Other than that, I've been experimenting with carbon fiber on the CNC machine. So I've been experimenting. Yes. So I've been incorporating some carbon fiber plates into my designs. Got a great reception on that. The fit and finish isn't there yet, so obviously I can't sell something that doesn't look cool to me. So I need to make sure it's 100% before I release it for people to buy on Etsy or whatever. Actually, since I got that large order, I went ahead and took all my Etsy listings down because there's no way I'm going to be able to take care of everything all at once. So I'm slowing down on taking orders. If it's like an emergency, I'll take an order from somebody, but otherwise, not so much right now. Clearing out the queue, I think I got like 6 things in the queue right now, and then I'm going to start on that large project. We have like a 8 to 12 week turnaround on one item, and then much longer for the others. So we have some time. I just went and bought. I went to Dakota Hardwoods, and I bought probably around like $550 worth of walnut and a couple planks of cherry yesterday. That was fun trying to figure out where it's going in my shop because I don't have that much space anymore.
He played Tetris this past day.
That's right. Two. That's right. I stopped by Paul's Woodcraft down here in San Antonio, and I bought one of those jet dust collectors. I actually had a spot for it though, so everything's beautiful now. That thing's loud though. Holy cow! Compared to the old one I had, which was like a portable one, but it's got like the stand up. It's got that big filter, like the canister filter on it,
up on top.
Yeah. It's super. I got a lot of CFM too, so I can run my planer and my CNC with full dust collection at the same time on the same dust collector.
Nice.
Which, I mean, normally I would just like have to pull the hose off the CNC and put it onto the planer and let the CNC just spit chips everywhere. But other than that, though, not too much else is going on in my shop. Just enjoying the cool weather down here that's coming into San Antonio. And I'm just excited to have Paul on. I mean, we've been talking about it since I got here, I think.
Yeah, early summer.
Yeah.
So yeah, glad to be here. Thank y'all.
Do you want to do the question, or you want to do more of let's do the question?
Let's run into Paul. Paul's our special guest here, so we have a bunch of questions for him. If we have time, we'll throw the question out there and wrap it up with that. So, Paul, where'd you get your woodworking start? I'm guessing your dad, right?
Yeah, my dad. Growing up, he had a little bit of a wood shop. He had one of the old shopsmiths, and used to see him out there doing things, but we never went out. I'm the youngest of 3 boys, and we weren't invited out there. That was his time to get away from us, and he would kind of shoo us off, and we'd be off doing our thing, and he'd be in there. But watching him do things, that kind of sparked the interest. And then in 2002, he ended up buying the Woodcrafts, and he was getting real into woodworking and more fine woodworking. And so that drew my interest. He ended up building a beautiful shop. And so I would go in there and tinker and just kind of mess around. I wasn't doing anything too serious. I was doing my best not to cut my fingers off at the bandsaw and that sort of thing. But that got me started in it. And once I started working for my dad, that was in 2012. And that's when I really just exploded on it and fell in love with it and really started taking it serious. And not that I'm any good these days, but definitely love doing it, love enjoying it, being part of the community of it, and have just really, really enjoyed woodworking from that point on.
I mean, that's awesome, man. I mean, the fact that he let you in there and you still kind of found your way back to it, I mean, that says a lot. You know what I'm saying? Do you wish that you would have got started earlier, or is that something that you're kind of happy it happened the way it did?
I'm definitely happy with the way my life is. I have nothing at all to complain about, so I'm very happy about that. But I would love to have kind of developed this craft more from an early age. And I hear people who have gone down that road, and the talent that they possess is amazing, and the skills that they've built in that time is very impressive. And I'm striving to get there, but still feel I have a long road. But I would have loved to have kind of picked it up from that early age.
The reason I asked, I think all three of us wish that we would have started earlier. At least I do. I mean, like you said, the amount of talent that you possess now versus, you're learning as you go. But that's part of woodworking we love is the learning curve.
Do you sell any of the stuff that you make, or is it just for you?
No, I don't get a whole lot of shop time, and I really just enjoy making stuff for me and the family or friends and just kind of doing that. I'm sure y'all are probably in similar boats. It looks like we all have young children around, and so my shop time consists of getting them to bed and going out, and at the end of a long day of work, going and trying to drag yourself into the shop. And sometimes you find the motivation and the energy to do it, and other times you don't. But I'm fortunate that when I get in there, I get to do it for myself and build the things I'm interested in building and focus on the skills that I want to build. So that's kind of where it leads me.
So you definitely, you're saying how you're like trying to perfect crap, but you're doing like lattice work and all that stuff. Like, I do not have the patience for that. Like, that is like, oh yeah, I don't find myself to be that good. You're working with very intricate woodworking. Like, I'm over here like, ooh, saws. Yeah, big chisel. And you're just like, oh.
This really is one of those things. Once you kind of get that technique down, it's pretty easy to knock out. And like I was kind of alluding to, it's really peaceful to be able to turn all the power tools off, throw on a good set list. Like we're saying, it's at the end of the day. I want to relax. It doesn't require a whole lot of physical energy, and you really get the opportunity to just kind of to focus on what you're doing, put whatever the stresses of the day were away, and blow off some steam and produce something really beautiful. And yeah, when you get that piece that slips right in and it all fits just the way it's supposed to, it's definitely a satisfying feeling for sure. There's so many different avenues of woodworking that you could pursue, and whether it's cutting dovetails or doing kumiko or whatever, just dialing in a hand plane. It all takes a certain level of skill, and it takes a long time to get that universal fundamental skill to begin doing the high quality work you want to do.
How do you sharpen your tools?
I'm using just some whetstones, Shapton stones. I've got a 1,000, 8,000, and then had to bite the bullet on a 30,000 grit stone, and that's for my hand planes and chisels. That's all I'm using, and then you've got to get that initial angle. You may have a diamond plate or something to rough it out, or just even sandpaper down on glass. But once you get that initial angle set, going back and honing and it's quick and easy. So
I don't know if they asked this yet, because I was dealing with a fight with my kids. What is it like to be the man that owns Woodcraft? Like, how cool is your job?
I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of fun. I love it. I'm very, very fortunate. I've thought about this a lot, actually, and that I've thought about if you owned other businesses, and there are plenty of cool businesses out there, but I mean, if you owned a car dealership, or if you owned whatever it is, a restaurant. The great thing about woodworking is that there are so many avenues, and there's so many different things and directions that you can take it, that the possibilities are endless. What people are doing and the things they bring into the store just blow me away, and the community that surrounds it. I don't know that restaurants, if you owned a restaurant, if you've got that, I'm sure everybody geeks out on food, and that I like food too, but just the ability to know that you can always go a different direction, and there's always more to learn. I love it. Being able to see the tools that are coming out and the different models and all the new different things that are coming down the pike is always really cool to see, and it's a lot of fun.
I'd be broke.
Yeah, it's definitely. I've told myself there's no more wood coming home with me. I've got too many one-off pieces of wood that say, oh, that's too pretty. I want that, and it's gotten to the point. No, garage is full until I start making something.
gotta get a shed, man. That's where the
Yeah.
You're joking, Josh. I've literally thought about buying a shed for wood.
I have too. In fact, I looked out. If my back kind of like slopes up into a field, if it didn't slope up, there'd be a shed right next to my other shed, just for wood.
Hey, why don't you put racks in your shed out back, Josh? You can put a couple racks out there.
Oh, because that's full of the stuff I took out of the garage.
Oh.
I have to put.
So are you?
Yeah.
See, that's what I need.
Are you working out of a 2-car or 3-car garage, Paul?
Yeah, I'm working out of a 3-car garage, and but some of it is shared with lawn tools, kids' bikes, and all that good stuff. So a shed is definitely in the future, and get all that stuff out of there, and quit wasting a perfectly good shop on somewhere to park bikes.
You gotta do it slow, man. You gotta do it. You gotta get the shed, throw a bike in there, and then like slowly get it out. So the transition for the whole family is smooth. You can't just be like, get a shed, it's out, because then there's gonna be issues.
That's pretty good advice.
Good luck with that. Let me know how that comes.
That definitely will.
You. So, what's your favorite tools in your shop that you currently have, or tools that you would like to get? I mean, you have access to pretty much every tool out there when it comes to woodworking. I'm just curious to know what you like using.
The tool that sees the most use is probably my shop vac, and while that's not very exciting, it needs to be done. But my favorite tool, that's a good question. I like my hand tools for sure. I've been in the past few years been really getting into planes and making sure I can adjust a plane, sharpen a plane, and take a nice good thin shaving. And so that's been a real blessing, because now you get away from a lot of the sanding. You can refine the surface with the hand plane, and you may get a couple little tracks here and there, but the sanding of getting those out is quick and easy in the finish that you're left with. And I'm not a purist that thinks that the finish has to come straight off of the hand plane. I still do plenty of sanding, but I get to start at such a higher grit, and it goes so much more quickly that's a huge benefit. So I have a lot of fun with the hand planes. So that's probably my favorite.
So, a question for you on hand planes, because I've got the old little Stanley block plane. Nothing crazy. I'm not, I really want to get into the whole hand planing thing, because I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes running something through a drum sander isn't necessarily needed. I could literally just, plane the seams. But my problem is how to set the blade on a hand plane. Like, is it like you set it on the piece and you just let it where it barely touches? Like, is there like some kind of technique or anything you do in particular that makes it easy for you?
The good planes will have a good adjusting knob at the back, and so I'll sharpen it up. I'll make sure that when the blade goes in, it's going to be retracted from the bed of the plane, and then just slowly adjust till I start taking a little tiny shaving. And one of the other tricks that I've kind of learned is I have a dedicated piece of wood that's set off to the side that has been playing dead flat, so that I'm not trying to set it off of a piece of wood that is already wavy. And so I'm trying to guess where the blade is coming out from the bed and where it's not. I know I've got a dead flat piece that I can get it adjusted there, and once it's taken a real nice fine shaving off of that, I can then take it to my workpiece and be able to go to work. And the other trick, I think, is just really being sharp. That's the other key, is just making sure that blade is deathly sharp. And as long as you got that going for you, you're in a good position to win.
So do you sharpen before every time you say
No.
you put them down, you pick them back up, do you sharpen them?
I wish. No, I don't. Again, I don't have that kind of time. I probably go way too long between sharpenings, and that's one of the goals for this year. Is we last year redid our kitchen, and they put down some granite countertops, and they cut out where the stovetop goes. And I took that drop, took it back to the granite shop, had them cut it square for me. So now I have a nice dead flat piece of granite that I'm going to build and create a little sharpening station so that it is right there, turn around, give it a few swipes, get back to work, and no excuses. Now, if I'm not doing it, it's my own laziness, which it is already, but.
Well, I don't know if anybody here actually enjoys sharpening. Does anybody here actually enjoy sharpening? You do, Josh?
No, you do.
Oh, well, mine doesn't take so long. Done. Yeah, I got the Tormex 1000 or whatever. So.
Yeah, the T8, that's a beast. That's a great tool.
I bought it and I thought I was going to use it a lot more, but I used it like maybe once a month. Nothing like super. But I'm not using a lot of hand tool. I use chisels, but I use my chisels the most. But I don't really use like the planes and stuff like that, like everybody else, like Josh does. I know. So I got to ask you, what do you think about the traditional planes, which are like, the regular hand style planes, versus the newer style ones that come out from like Bridge City? Have you seen those?
Yeah, those things look like spaceships.
Yeah.
I haven't messed with any of those. I've just got the regular bench planes. I've got a good set of our Wood River planes, and those things do me pretty well. They're really good planes for the money, and that's basically all I mess with. I couldn't really speak to the Bridge City ones. I've seen them, and that's it. I like Bridge City though. That they make some really cool stuff.
Yeah, they have a lot of innovative stuff that they come out with.
Yeah.
What planes do you own? Out of curiosity, like good.
The numbers?
Yeah, like which ones do you own? Because like you can have an entire set where there's a wall planes, or you can have the basic set where it's 3. You might have a 5. What do you own?
I've got the 4, 5. I want a 5.5, although I just haven't pulled the trigger on it, and then a 6. Then I have a Lee Nielsen number 4, which that thing's nice. And then I also have the Lee Nielsen 62, the low angle. So, that runs it out for me.
I love me some Lee Nielsen stuff. It comes right off the rack, ready to rock and roll for the most part.
Yes, they are beautiful tools, no doubt.
So not to sound like a super new guy, what do the numbers mean on the planes? Like, I've never looked this up. I just never really took the time to look. But since we're talking about it, what do they mean?
Typically, your numbers correspond with the size of the plane as well as the angle of the blade, depending on. And sometimes it can be altered because you can have different angles in the same size plane. I've seen like the Bridge City planes; they have the 2 angles with one size plane. Have you seen those, Josh?
Yeah, what you're referring to is I think it's HP9. I would have to actually look it up to verify, but yeah, Bridge City, you're able to adjust multiple different angles with them, so that you're kind of replacing multiple different planes. You can also change out the blades to different blades to help with that. But yeah, Nick's right on. Paul, jump in if you want, but size, angle is basically what you're referring to when it comes to the numbers.
It's an old numbering system from Stanley that they did back at the turn of the century, and it's everybody's just that kind of set the tone for the numbering, and everybody just pretty much follows that. And so, yeah, as you go from 4 up to a number 8, they just get longer, wider, and just. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then you start getting into specialty planes, and those go off in a different numbering system. So,
gotcha. Was just curious.
Topic. There's some good books on planes out there. If you want to learn about them, really good reads.
I like planes. That's why I joined the Air Force. Anyway, let's
lame.
Anyway,
lame. Like that mustache.
Well, do you want to take a question now from AJ?
Yeah, we can go and throw that question out there.
What's going on, gentlemen? Long time no talk, and I think you might know who this is. But it's AJ over at Crafting and NJ. And first, I want to say thank you for the praise that you gave me on last week's episode. It really means a lot to me. I wasn't expecting it. I was listening and I was kind of blown away by it. So first and foremost, thank you so much for that. Just got a ton of stuff in the works, so stay tuned for it. But anyway, I got 2 questions for you guys today. One has to deal with Etsy, and the other has to deal with kind of finance and, keeping track of stuff. So with Etsy, I know I talked to Josh once before about this. Might have even been a couple more times. But as you know, I make different style flags for different departments, military, you name it, I'll make it. Would you do one Etsy listing for, like, let's just say a custom fire department one, and then, in the description label, can add names, badges, so on and so forth. Then a custom police department, and then military branches. It's kind of like, would you do, a Marines one, an Air Force one, an Army one? How would you differentiate it? Because I could do one listing and put options there, but the problem is most times I've seen it happen a few times in my own case that, people don't read the description, they don't look at the options, and then you get more questions than orders, if that makes any sense. So I'm curious, would you do multiple listings for each individual flag, or would you do one listing and then kind of blanket it with all the options? One, it would cost you less because it would only be one listing, but I'm curious on what you think. Second question is, as you know, I buy a ton of lumber at one clip, and so I have it on hand. I have it at the ready and in inventory. So I'm not buying, whenever I get a custom order, I don't go out and buy just X amount of 2x4s for that order. I'll buy 50, 60, or whatever, and then keep them on hand. So when you look at your finances or, your Excel spreadsheets or whatever you're using, how would you label that? Like, would you just, if it's mid-year or whenever you buy it, you're doing your in and out money. Would you just do, lumber, $300, and then just keep going and going? Because every job is going to be using that lumber that I'm going to buy, but I don't have that lumber set aside just for that job. I hope this makes some kind of sense. It makes sense in my weird brain, but yeah, I'm curious on what you guys are, what your guys' take on it is. And like I said, I've racked my brain on this for a while now. But anyway, great podcast. Still enjoying it. Still listening. So just know I'm still one of your big supporters. So just wanted to also say, what's up, Nap? Never got to formally introduce myself. So what's going on, guy? Anyway, you guys enjoy. I can't wait to listen. And tell Walnut the cat I said hi. And I don't want to be on her bad side.
AJ, that's all. Like 3 minutes, 30-second question, man. I mean, we'll answer. We love you, brother, but you're dead to us. No, I'm just playing.
Oh, damn.
That was like off the deep end quick.
I'm just playing. All right, let's start off with the Etsy thing. I'll take Etsy the first answer. So for your Etsy store, all right, it's 20 cents to list something, unless you have like 2 different sizes, like a large flag with the Air Force logo, small flag with the Air Force logo, and they look exactly the same. They're just different sizes. You could put those under one ad. But if you have variations like Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, Space Force, all that stuff, you want to do an individual listing because you want that to grab people's eyes. And plus, Etsy's going to do advertising for you. So when you upload those pictures under each individual ad, it guarantees that you get more marketing and more exposure, I guess, on Facebook and Instagram or whatever the ads, wherever they generate and populate at, right? So, and if you consistently keep updating your Etsy, say you upload new photos or you put a new item on there, it's a better chance that you're going to get more exposure because Etsy is going to see that you're constantly adding stuff and constantly active. But that being said, more the merrier, folks. It's easier to go ahead and just put the option as its own thing and then have them order it and you see everything right there instead of having them like go in there and select from drop downs and all that stuff. It's a pain in the rear. But what about you guys?
Yep. So I'm not Etsy. I still don't have an Etsy or anything like that. So I don't count. So I will honorably pass this question.
How about you, Paul? You got an Etsy page?
I don't, but
you mean Woodcraft doesn't have Etsy pages?
We'll look into it. I'll see
I got your mailer, by the way.
Yeah, there. That's. No, but I think I like your advice of the just being able to see the different styles, and I bet that probably knocks out some questions that the customers are going to be having in conversations. So,
how about you,
I talked
Josh?
to him about this not too long ago, and I basically told him for his because he does such a wide variety. I told him to basically go about it. I believe something similar, for all the forces. Basically, separate them, do a fireman, police, and then wavy, non-wavy option there. That way, they can get which one they wanted, and you could separate those two. You have a good point, Nick. I think at the point when I talked to him, I said, one post for like the Marines. Here's a flag, straight flag. Here's a wavy flag. You could drop down that option, and then for any kind of other details. But yeah, with Etsy, it's a numbers game. I don't have the numbers on Etsy. That's why I don't have a lot of people buying my stuff from Etsy. Nick has quite a few things on his Etsy. That's why you can search certain things, and he's going to pop up because he has that exposure.
So I also don't know if it's a trend. Well, it's a trend for me, but I don't know if it's a coincidence or if this is how it goes. But every time I ship off like 3 or 4 items, like they'll aggregate in my orders, right? And I'll knock them all out, ship them all within a couple days of each other, and boom, get a whole new batch of orders, which is really weird. I don't understand how that works. Maybe Etsy's playing like mind games with people, but like, no, you will wait till he ships out what he has before you order. No, but that's just the way it seems to go.
With the metrics, man, because when you fulfill those orders and then you fulfill them within the timeline and people receive them, it shows that you're putting out a product on time and everything. And especially with like free shipping, if your shipping's included already in the price, that puts you on like a scale. So
yeah,
like
I knew
free
that.
shipping puts you at like number 5. If you start putting out orders on time, it's number 4, and it just goes up. So when you ship out all that stuff, it's like, hey, this maker's doing really well. Buy his stuff. We can rely on them because it's a business. They want to, they're advertising for you.
Have you ever noticed when like some of the ads, especially on eBay, people do this, where they're like, they make it super cheap, right? Like the price for like a $50 item's like $3.99, but shipping's like $48. So they make it's the same thing, but different. Anyway,
same.
Let's move on to that business aspect. Let's kick it over to Paul and Knapp because I know they're established. They've been around a lot longer than I have. So full send, guys. What do you think?
Well, since Paul's the guest, I'll let him speak on it, and probably because he's probably got more business know-how than my little LLC. So
it seems I would just have the lumber kind of included as your inventory and just use that and deduct as you go, and that's take away. I mean, you would charge X amount per job that would then take away from your inventory. And I mean, that sounds exactly like what we're doing. It's just kind of a different beast. You're making things but you still got raw materials. We sell tools and equipment, and it comes in, we buy it in bulk, and it goes out individually. Just keep track of what's going out the door, what's coming in the door. Should be different lines on your P&L.
So realistically, the first thing you said on inventory, that was the first thing I was thinking, because literally that's why I buy as much lumber as I do. Like, okay, yeah, I just went and spent $500. Okay, that's $500 in inventory. Okay, how many board feet do I have? Okay, this is how many board feet of this I have. Okay, how much money am I making off that board footage? And blah, 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 blah. So yeah, realistically, AJ, just track it as inventory, as Paul said, and as you make and sell stuff, I mean, really just keep track. I mean, there's not really much to it in this regard.
So I buy a lot of lumber not because I just need it as inventory, but because I'm a junkie. I like see a plank, whether I'm at Dakota Hardwoods or at Woodcraft or wherever, and I'll just buy it just to buy it because I'm like, I like that. I want it. I want it for me. But eventually I'll end up using it for the business. But I want it for me.
I mean, realistically, I buy as much as I do just because I don't want to go back to Dakota. That's still like a 30, 35-minute drive from my house. So
yeah, look at Josh over here. He's like, oh, you go poor.
That's literally everything, man. But no, you guys all hit on it. I agree 100%. Inventory, if you're going to write it in your books, I think he's using Excel because he's not established as LLC yet. You already spent that money, so you just put the money, deduct it as you go. I buy lumber because I know what lumber I'll be using. I have a footprint here, so I know what's going to be coming in, what people are going to be asking for, what I'm going to use. I use a lot of walnut. I'll use a lot of cherry, maple here and there, and poplar. That's pretty much what I have on hand. If it's something a little bit different, I'm going to have to go 40 minutes away from me or more to get that.
Oh, stop crying.
Anyway, so hey, that's why I have 2 large planks of Jatoba and a plank of Purple Heart and things like that. It's because I buy it and then I'm like, oh, I'll use this for something, and then I store it away. Like today, I just gave away probably like 40 or 50 board fitting cutoffs. It had to have been.
You gave it away.
Lady gave it away. This stuff's too small for me to use for any of my projects. I'm not just go make coasters. I mean, I'll let somebody else deal with that.
Yeah, thanks for not sending those my way to make Sawdust Nation coasters, you jackwagon.
Don't worry, I got like 40 or 50 board feet left. Have you seen my garage? Holy smokes. I got lumber in my cabinets below the miter station. That's how much. It's like full up. Anyway,
yeah, I think woodworkers are hoarders in general, and
exactly.
But it's a good feeling to get rid of it and free up some space. I've never thrown something away and turned around and said, I really needed that 4-inch long, 5-inch wide random piece. So no.
This is 4x4. Okay, perfect.
All right. Hey, and by the way, so Paul, I was up in I was at your store and I saw you guys had some curly walnut. Holy smokes, man. That stuff's gorgeous once it goes through that planer.
Yeah, that is some pretty walnut. Yes.
But I actually called my normal lumber supplier and I was like, "Hey, do you guys have any of this?" And they're like, "I've never even heard of it." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? How are you in lumber?"
I'm sure they've heard of it. They just don't want to tell you about it.
Of curly walnut?
Yeah.
That's not
it's like
too crazy.
Figured and curly. And
yeah.
Quilted. Some of it's quilted. It's
yeah,
gorgeous.
They're saying they've never heard of it. There are some lumber yards, they don't want anything to do with that. They're still selling straight to millwork companies and y'all being the one-off creator, y'all are looking for the specialty figured stuff. And I've heard, a lot of dealers don't really want to mess with the figured stuff and bird's eye and this and that, and so.
But it's your charge for it, though. If they have it, because I've seen that, they're like, "Oh, we don't carry it, but if it's there, you can buy it." But it's not like normal prices. Like both sides of the fence.
Oh yeah, of course.
Dakota's pretty good about not doing that, though.
I wish mine.
Anyhow,
mine's not.
We're pushing time here, guys. You think we should wrap it up?
Yeah, we could wrap it up.
Hey, let's get to hear from our sponsors once more. So kick it over to Nick. Hey, glad you asked. Let's go ahead and thank pwncnc.com. Check them out. Daniel over there has some amazing stuff for your CNC machine. And now use promo code Sawdust Nation for 10% off your online order of PWNCNC products. And check out their new spindles that they have coming out. They've got the air-cooled and the water-cooled. So pwncnc.com or at pwncnc on the Instagrams. And it's Totalboat. Check them out, totalboat.com or at Totalboat for that amazing epoxy experience. Hit them up if you're ever looking to get some epoxy. Hit them up on Instagram. They can make recommendations for you. Or if you need a promo code, once you do decide to pull that trigger, hit us up over at the Sawdust Nation Podcast Instagram page, and we will provide you with a 10% off promo code for all Totalboat products. And last but not least, Jtechphotonics. Thank you so much for your continued support. Visit them at jtechphotonics.com for that diode laser experience. And I know I said last but not least already, but I do want to thank the patrons from our Patreon account. You guys are amazing. But I want to thank Paul for being here today because, just having his experience and the aura of this titan of woodworking industry. What? It's true. It was really a really pleasant experience to have you on here. And if you don't, or if you live in the San Antonio area, check them out at Woodcraft San Antonio down at 13719 San Pedro Avenue. They're open Monday through Sunday, so check them out. Anyway.
Thank y'all for having me.
No worries, man.
So if you want to get a hold of us, you can go ahead and, hit us up on Instagram. We have 4 accounts you can hit us up on. You have Nick from MPG Creations. You have Nap from Nap's Naughty Works LLC. And myself, Josh from North Country Woodworking. And then the Sawdust Nation Podcast Instagram account, which you may never know who's going to answer that. We sometimes go back and forth, and you might be talking to all 3 of us. And then we have the Sawdust Nation Podcast at gmail.com, where you can send a voicemail, pictures of your current project, or hit us up with any kind of topics you want to hear on the podcast itself. Look forward to hearing from you. With that, I'm going to kick it over to Nap, and he's going to tell us about...
Oh, that Apple Podcast? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. That's...
Oh, yeah. So, hey, if you...
He'll get it eventually.
Shut your mouth.
He's only been a member of the podcast for like 6 months now. Jeez, almighty.
No, I mean, I'm just waiting for Josh to get through his whole spiel, But hey, listen, if you do want to listen to the podcast on the Apple Podcast app, make sure you give us 5 stars. Because if you don't give us 5 stars, as you heard earlier, Walnut the cat from AJ from that question there will come and get you. You don't want to be on our bad side. But for real, if you don't give us 5 stars, tell us why, so we can make sure we're giving you the content that you would like to hear. That way you can go ahead and change your rating to a 5-star.
Yeah, we're here for you. So final words, Paul. What do you got?
Oh, not a whole lot. I just really appreciate y'all taking the time and let me get on here and have some fun with you guys.
Well,
much appreciated, man.
Yeah, much appreciated. Thanks for being here. Now, what say you?
If you have any used tools and you need to sell them, you can go ahead and sell them to Nick. I'm sure he'll buy them at a premium price. No, but for real, folks, hey, this is community. Make sure you guys are helping each other out. I've had a maker come to the garage now for the past week or 2, learning some things from me, and just reinforcing the whole maker community versus competition, because that is what this is. That's what we're here for, to help everyone out the best that we can. That's what I got. What you got, Nick?
Well, as usual, take care of yourselves and each other. And until next time, I'll be at Woodcraft. How about you?
Come see
us. If you're
us.
not at Woodcraft, where you at?
What was the one saw that old commercial that's like Woodcraft, making your woodwork for you? Remember that?
Helping you make woodwork. That's right.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Helping you make woodwork. Yeah. So help yourself out. Make your woodwork. Go to Woodcraft. Anyway, Josh.
Nap had it right. Community over competition. And you can go ahead and grab one of those shirts from Fred Woodco's page. If you go to his shirt section, it's the 3rd page all the way down. It's about $30 and definitely worth it. We appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to us. You turn us on, we're going to whisper in your ear about all the wood and how we're working it. And you can listen to us in the kitchen. You can listen to us as you're mowing the yard, reorganizing the garage, setting up your wood shop. Or, we could be part of your playlist when you're doing some fine chisel work. We can be whispering in your ear. Go in the shop. Make some sawdust. Sawdust Nation.
Ow!
Out.
Nick!
Sawdust Nation out. I got it.
We have the slow one.
Oh my gosh.
Listen,
I can't do it.
He gives me crap about being the new guy, or been here for a while. He's been here since like the middle of this freaking podcast, and he can't even do it.
Hey, Paul. Hey, man. Honestly, it's been a pleasure. We're still recording, so I'll wait till the recording stops to tell you what else I want to say. But anytime you want to.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. No, I had a lot of fun.
You guys want a private
Definitely.
room?
If
no, we're just gonna go talk shit about Rockler. No, I'm playing.
And there it is.